A beginning is a very delicate time.
A beginning, indeed, is a very delicate time. Hello, I'm RetroJules. On June the 26th, 2018, World of Tanks changed overnight forever as Wargaming proudly presented and were very excited about World of Tanks Mercenaries. This was very controversial, and for me, on a personal level, I disliked it a lot. At the time, I was a contributor, and as a contributor, you were always trying to be positive or neutral about the game, and I couldn't do it. I absolutely hated the content, and I was embarrassed to be associated with the game. And in 2019, I did have an 8-month sabbatical from the game, and I'll be honest with you, Mercenaries was a small part of that. Even though the game was the same, it felt that Wargaming overnight had an itch to scratch, and they wanted to make this game, for want of a better word, childish and immature, and maybe they were trying to make the game appeal to younger people. Overnight, it just seemed to change from this mature, strategic, sensible game to something completely different. We had the Franken tanks, we had cartoon tanks, we had robots appear in the game, we had reskins galore, we had reskinned maps, and of course the big thing that happened while World of Tanks Mercenaries was active were the game-changing buffs and nerfs. Buffs and nerfs that were so dramatic. Some of us actually just stopped playing some of the tanks because they were no longer effective in the game. For me, the introduction of Mercenaries was a dark time for the game. I know some people enjoyed it. For me personally, it was just a complete game changer and not the game that I had started many, many years ago. Well, it seems that is possibly now behind us, and we now have the launch of World of Tanks Valor. Hurrah, I say. I made a video not that long ago about what do you want from Wargaming in 2020? And one of the, what I thought, insignificant little things that I mentioned was I would quite like to see Mercenaries dropped from the game title, because actually Mercenaries is such a small part of the game, it doesn't reflect what the game is about, and I don't think the game should have been named after it. Now I've said that Mercenaries was such a small aspect of the game, why did it bother me so much? I think it bothered me because I was really worried and concerned about the direction that the game was now heading, and it was not a direction that I was interested in. Anyway, came back from my sabbatical from tanking, came back with a completely different attitude and thought, I am just going to play the tanks that I enjoy, come back to the community that I love, and just basically ignore the mercenary side of things. So the game is the same, but it is now rebranded as Valor, which is spelt wrongly, by the way. But I know, I know the Americans spell Valor differently. And the meaning of Valor, quite simply, is great courage in the face of danger, especially in battle. And I quite like that as a statement because it's mature, it has a historic sound to it. It feels like we are striving forward to the next generation. And I like the picture, even though it's cartoony, I like the fact that we've got a commander looking forward to the future. We have a historical tank in the background, a Sherman. And for me, this is a turning point. I'm hoping that Wargaming have perhaps realised that maybe the player base wasn't really interested in Mercenaries. Maybe the player base is quite mature, quite intellectual, and actually liked the whole World of Tanks aspect of the evolution and production and playing of historically accurate, historically based tanks. And I think that's where we are now. I think that the 4 new tanks to play for via the Valor Ops are absolutely brilliant. They are tanks that look like they belong in the game, and they're exciting looking tanks. This is like a huge relief to me. I just feel like Mercenaries has been hit on the head. I hope it hasn't damaged the game that much. I look at the player base on Xbox and it's currently around sort of 14 to 16,000 people online at any one time, which is brilliant because we're at home playing it. And I think this is being rolled out at a perfect time when the player base has increased, and I think this is the way forward. I think this paves the way for crossplay, which we're all looking forward to, all being together in one place, playing the game together as it should be. Wheeled vehicles, that's going to be controversial, but it's going to be another mature aspect of the game and a completely different gameplay style. That's going to bring a different dynamic to the game. And I'm hoping along with that we are going to get some new maps. I'm a slightly unusual tanker. They say, we know that. Retro, we watched the videos. Yeah, all right. I'm slightly unusual in the fact that I don't want to grind anymore. I started grinding the Italian line because of the Italian ops and the bonuses, and I've not enjoyed it. And in fact, in the background, I started grinding a few other tanks. And for whatever reason, and I don't know, it could well be me. It could be that my tanking isn't as good as it used to be. It could be the fact that I don't play anywhere near as often as I used to. And I'm finding grinding just horrible. I do not want to grind tanks anymore. I'm really happy with my tank collection. So I am a tanker who plays the game very, very casually when time allows. It's not the only game I play. And I just want to roll out and enjoy the tanks that I have earned. And when I sort of looked back at the years I spent grinding the tanks that I've got, I don't remember it being as painful and as frustrating as it is now. That could be me, could be the way the game has changed, I don't know. So as far as I'm concerned, I am just a player, and bringing new tanks in the game is brilliant because you guys love to grind the new tanks. It gives people something to focus on, and I think these new tanks are brilliant for that. But for me, if I win them, great, but I'm not going to play for them. So I'm in this sort of position where the game for me just needs to keep me entertained as I play normally. It's all about the gameplay, and that to me is the maps, and I'm really hoping that Wargaming use this opportunity to address the maps, and especially if wheeled vehicles come out, perhaps kicking out some of the smaller maps which probably aren't going to work. I am quite uplifted by World of Tanks Valor and the rebrand. I don't know whether this is a permanent rebrand. I mean, Mercenaries lasted 2 years. Will Valor last 2 years? Is this rebranding of the game just a stage that the game is going through, and every 2 years maybe it gets a different name? Or is this the new permanent name for World of Tanks? I don't really know why they just didn't call it World of Tanks Console from the start and just stick to that and then just carry on as normal. Well, that's my personal thoughts on how I felt when Mercenaries came out, how I feel now Valor has come out and been relaunched, and even though some of you guys may be thinking, well, hang on, Retro, it's the same game. It's the same game with a different title. It is, but I think it's a new beginning, and I think it's a fresh start, and I think that the 4 tanks that we're now going to be playing for are a sign of the direction of the game. I think that this is just a good, fresh start for the game, and I also really like the way that they're going to rebalance the tanks, and they're going to do it gradually, and they're going to do 2 tanks every 2 weeks, and they're going to explain to us why they've done it, how they've done it, and I really like that. I like that interaction from Jeff Gregg saying, look, I'm the lead game designer, these are the tanks that aren't quite working in the game, and these are the changes we're going to make to them, and these are the reasons why. And I like that interaction and that communication. When I had most of 2019 off and came back to the game, nothing had changed. Nothing had changed at all. It's almost like Wargaming had had the year off and done nothing to the game, and now it's accelerating, and now we're getting communication, we're getting development of the game. For the first time in quite a while, I am really uplifted and really excited about what this may bring and what this is going to bring going into next year of the new generation of consoles, and how maybe this game is going to go into that new generation of consoles with us. Really hope you enjoyed the video. I'm really looking forward to your thoughts down below. What did you think of Mercenaries? What do you think of Valor? Does it give you hope for the future of the game? Are you neither here nor there about it? Are you just like, well, Retro, it's the same game, I just play it? Really interested in your thoughts and how you think this affects you. Keep safe, keep tanking, and I'll see you soon.